Hello Magic fans, I'm Beef and welcome back to another standard gameplay video, and today we are playing Grixis, which is blue, black and red, mill. And it's all possible due to a new card from Aetherdrift, Riverchurn Monument. This is a 2-mana artifact and you can pay 1 and tap it. Any number of target players each mill 2 cards. Then it has an exhaust for 2 and 2 blue, and tapping. Exhaust is a new mechanic from Aetherdrift. It's an activated ability that, as it says on the screen, you can only activate it once a game per card. And it said any number of target players each mill cards equal to the number of cards in their graveyard. So if they've got 10 cards in their graveyard, they mill 10. That's not massively impressive. However, when combined with Terisian Mindbreaker, which is a 7-mana 6/4 and says when a creature attacks, defending player mills half their library, rounded up. Now again, 7 mana is a lot and it doesn't have haste. However, it has Unearth for 1 and 3 blue, which means basically it comes into play haste and then we exile it at the end of our end step. So if we get it in our graveyard, Unearth, attack, doesn't matter if our opponent blocks, they mill half their library, and because they've got half their library in the graveyard, that exhaust ability will mill them for the other half of their library. It's basically the mill version of the Unstoppable Slasher and Bloodletter of Actazot's combo, where Unstoppable Slasher causes your opponent to lose half their life, and Bloodletter causes life lost to be doubled on your turn, so half their life doubled is their entire life. So that's the main combo, but we do have some other ways as well. We have 3 copies of Jace the Perfected Mind, which can obviously mill our opponent. We can minus X, target players mills 3 times X cards, so if we pay the full 4, that's 15. 2 Jaces means we can Riverchurn Monument to get rid of their entire library. Or we can just minus 2 to mill 3 and draw if an opponent has, well, if a graveyard has 20 or more cards in it, we draw 3 cards instead. Or we can +1 it to give up to 1 target creature -3, -0 to our next turn if we're facing up against aggro. We also are playing 1 copy of the Mind Skinner, which is a reasonably new card from Duskmourn. It's a 3-mana 10/1 that can't be blocked. However, it says if a source you control deal damage to an opponent, prevent that damage, and each opponent mills that many cards. So this doesn't deal 10 to our opponent, but it does cause them to mill 3 cards. And because it can't be blocked, it can get in. But obviously, it's quite easy to remove or bounce or whatever. So it's just another one just to play for fun, really. And the rest of the deck is basically set up to make sure that we can last long enough that we can get a Mindbreaker into our graveyard, or and then get a Riverchurn Monument and exhaust it, or get Jace down and start milling. So we have 4 copies of 3 Steps Ahead to counter a spell, or draw 2 and discard. Discard is important because if we have the Mindbreaker in our hand, we do want to get into a graveyard. Or we can even create a token copy of our Monument to maybe speed up the mill and use extra exhaust ability. We have 2 copies of Nightmare of Affliction, mainly for the mono red games where we want to exile someone at half-fire hero. However, it's also really good against Ketramose, because Ketramose has Indestructible and it does have a mana cost of 3. So this does exile Ketramose. 4 copies of Bitter Triumph. Obviously, the additional cost to discard a card is really powerful. Well, really good when we've got Mindbreaker in our hand. Go for the throat. We've only got 1 copy of this. We were running 2 copies, but I then went with 1 copy of Withering Torment, just up against decks playing Temporary Lockdown. Our Riverchurn Monument is 2 mana, so the lockdown does hit it. Ideally, you would want to wait until you have 6 mana to play the Monument, so you can play and exhaust it in the same turn. However, if you've got nothing to play on turn 2, you might want to get it down. Then 3 copies of Refaros Dispersal. It does cost 2 less if it targets an attacking creature. Returns that creature to its owner's hand, and Surveil 2. Again, that Surveil is good to get a Mindbreaker into the graveyard. Same with Ill-Timed Explosion. 4, draw 2, then we may discard 2. When we do, we deal X damage to each creature, where X is the greatest mana value among cards discarded this way. Again, discard the Mindbreaker, deal 7 to everything. 2 copies of this town ain't big enough. We don't have a huge amount of permanents. However, what I quite like doing is playing Jace -2. If our opponent tries to remove Jace, we can just bounce it, then play it again -2, and go on. That's why we only have 2 copies though. We don't have many permanents. We can even bounce the Riverchurn Monument if our opponent tries to remove it, or we can bounce a Temporary Lockdown to get our Monument back and then get ready to play it. Then we do have 2 Deadly Cover Up as an additional sweep up, and we can also collect Evidence 6 to remove a creature, remove a card from our opponent's graveyard, hand, and library. So if we know we're playing up against a specific deck, we can take their win con out of their hand. Mana base. This is mostly mono blue. Obviously, we've only got one red card and a few black cards. So we have more islands and swamps. We only have one mountain. Then we have the 2 verges of black, blue, red, blue. We haven't got black, red. And same with the Surveil lands, 4 copies of Undercity Sewers, black, blue, Thundering Falls, red, blue. Again, we don't have the black, red one. And Surveil's good again to get a Mindbreaker into our graveyard. And because we are a control deck, we don't mind playing tap lands early on. And then 2 copies of Fabled Passage just to fetch up some of our basic lands if we need them. So that's the deck. Hope you enjoy it. If you do, please remember to like and subscribe. And I'll see you all in the gameplay. Our opponent does go first, but we have a Monument and a Jace. We just need to get a Mindbreaker into the graveyard. Our opponent, green, white and black. Oh, give that a keep the bit of triumph. Oh, let's get down the Monument. Our opponent is scrying. No indication of what they're actually playing. They take one of our Jaces. Well, I think we hold up Riverchurn Monument and 3 steps ahead. Just our opponent. I suppose we could have made ourselves actually, so we want the Mindbreaker in the graveyard. Hopefully they draw a worse card than what we milled, although we milled a Legion to Ashes and a Bleachbone Verge. They do seem to be a control deck. I'm not sure what the green's for. Up the Beanstalk. There's an ill-timed explosion. We've got a Maze Mine Tome and a Deadly Cover Up. Fine. We do have 4 more. 3 more, sorry. Well, let's get out Jason. I think we just tick up. I imagine they'll have Get Lost. Oh, it's a Ketchamos. Well, we can exile that. Yeah, I'll just keep more land for now. Oh, he's got hexproof. That's irritating.
I don't move without knowing my target.
I think we just... That way, if we draw another Riverchurn Monument, we are not far away. In fact, we can move them out straight away. And we can play the Monument and activate it.
Let me get a read on the situation.
We'll do this to draw. Well, there's the Mindbreaker. Just need to find that another Riverchurn Monument. I am imagining they would have named Riverchurn Monument. That's... We need that monument pretty down quickly. Because if I have another cover up, we are screwed basically. Sometimes magic is just that easy. Again, tons of removal and tons of surveil. Don't need more lands for now. Well, there's a Mindbreaker, which we can discard with a bit of triumph. That's why I didn't surveil. I'll keep it 3 steps ahead. Ooh, dragons. You know what? It's going to cost me 3 life. But I'd rather hold 3 steps ahead up for something else. And if we draw a land, next turn, we can just mill them out with Monument. There we go. And yeah, our opponent scoops. We go first. Well, we have lots of our lands. Not a huge amount of removal for now. I will always keep more Jaces. 2 Jaces can basically get us to Riverchurn Monument territory. Don't need 3 Jaces. I've never seen Soul Search before, and I've seen it a few times in playing this deck. I'm guessing they're playing. It's a Ketchumos deck. They've taken a Jace. Right, well, I think we just hold up 3 steps ahead. And if they play another Soul Search, we draw with it and discard the Mindbreaker. Maybe we should have kept that 3rd Jace. Yeah, it's definitely Ketchumos. Yeah, that's actually really frustrating, isn't it? Well, obviously, I don't know why they didn't. Hang on. Because we cast it, I don't think that worked how it should.
Is wasted. You cannot win. I know where to find all the answers. A more efficient solution must be found.
Well, that's annoying. I mean, we've already got rid of 3 of them, so. We can bounce Ketchumos if it gets up to where it can attack. I imagine they take the other one. Yeah. Would love a Night with Affliction, because that can exile Ketchumos. We don't need all this land. Doesn't really matter. Well, at least we can draw and discard with 3 steps ahead and counter something. I think I just wait to counter something though. I think we can counter, draw, and copy the monument. We can. We'll just discard, go for the right. They're at 9. And our opponent scoops. Not sure why. Even if we activate 1, that would only put them to, well, 10 now. Down to, so up to 20. Down to 27. Yeah, we wouldn't quite get there. And since we didn't have any more Jaces, we would have had to find another Mindbreaker. But, you know, or just repeatedly mill them with the monuments for a couple of turns. Well, we've got the Mindbreaker. We just need a 3rd land. Oh. Seems we've got nothing else to spend our mana on. Right, then we can just hold up 3 steps ahead. I'm fine with that. I'm fine with that as well. And next turn we can ill-timed explosion. Getting rid of the other Mindbreaker. Oh, we don't have any black mana. That's a bit weird. And hopefully they don't have another creature and Shattered by Ghosts. Well, they can't cast Shattered by Ghosts now unless they have another land. Do they have it? They do not. And that's game. We go first. We need more lands, but let's give it a whirl. Well, I'm going to hold up Bit of Triumph. They are ramping. We do hit a land, that's good. Would like another one for All-Time Explosion. They are ramping a lot. We get our mountain. We miss our land drop. What are they ramping up to, though? Oh, there's our fourth land. I'm going to keep Jace. They're plotting the Trailblazer. Let's see what we can hit with this. Just 2 lands. I'm going to put Forest Dispersal and go for the go for the throat. We can Bit of Triumph the Overlord. I'm guessing they might have had like a handful of removal. Well, that's an issue. We don't have anything that can take care of Agarvoth. And yeah, cards we discard. Yeah, okay. Well, again, we have another handful of removal. Let's see if we're up against aggro this time. Our opponent is mulling over a mulligan. There we go. We drew the third land. And yeah, I'll keep that as well. Don't think I need that for now. We can hold up 3 steps ahead. That's fine. That doesn't affect us. Let's counter that. And discard and draw. Discard a Aspara's Dispersal. That's fine.
I've already read your thoughts. You won't stop us. The data required.
Oh, another Jace. Well, we have another one.
In time, all will witness Grixis' truth.
If they Maush and Pulse again, we'll probably just this town it.
I know where to find all the answers.
Let's submit Bitter discard Bitter Triumph. Don't need that. We replay out Jace.
Grixis' plans are already in motion. I will clear your mind.
Another ill-timed explosion. Do they just replay out? They do not just reap out. Leyline of the Void.
The weak-minded will be educated by no secret.
Well, they were playing an Obliterator deck. And yeah, how many cards did I have in Graveyard at that point? 17, so not far away from drawing 3 with Jace. And yeah, we got almost halfway through a deck without seeing a Mindbreaker or a Riverchurn Monument. It's kind of frustrating, but now we just carry on holding up 3 steps ahead. Hello Magic fans, and welcome back to a very quick wrap up. I actually really like this deck. I'm not a big fan of Mill. It's one of those win cons that's incredibly frustrating to play against. I'm sure everyone who's played Arena has played against decks where it's turn 1 Ruin Crab, and then they just mill you in, most of your deck by playing lands. It's frustrating. I'm not a big fan of it, but this is quite powerful. It is a combo deck. And like with a lot of combo decks, if you don't have the pieces, it doesn't do a huge amount. We could play one of the Restless Creature lands to have an additional win con, and they also mill the Restless Reef, I think is the black-blue one, which also mills. So you could play that as well, but we do have enough tap lands, I think. But well, yeah, when you get Mindbreaker, maybe like get attack turn 4 or turn 5 with it, next turn play out the Monument and mill your opponent for half their deck. It is pretty fun. Annoyingly, it's one of those decks we have a lot of removal, and quite a lot of times I wasn't playing against aggro decks, which is kind of frustrating because then all these removal cards are dead cards. But yeah, it's a fun deck. It is a combo deck, so it does fall down a bit. it does also fall down against graveyard hate, because obviously if the Mindbreaker is in the graveyard and they exile it, unearth is a... When you unearth something, it's not like playing it from your hand where it just goes on the stack. It is a triggered ability, essentially. So once that's on the stack, they can still exile the Mindbreaker from your graveyard. Which I did find out in one game, which is we still won. But just watch out for that. At that time, I did think, well, I've cast it. It's on the stack. I shouldn't be able to remove it from my graveyard, but they still could. So that was a bit frustrating. So, but yeah, the rest of it's really, really powerful. A lot of sweepers, a lot of removal for when we need to. And it gets to a point, if we're not playing against aggro, we can just cast things like Ill-Timed Explosion to just draw and discard to make sure we have all the cards where we want them. So, fun deck to play in a archetype. I don't really play that often, but it's quite good. I do want to maybe try a blue-red deck for the Mind Skinner, get it down, and just start pinging our opponent and just milling them that way. But might have to have another think about that. But yeah, in the meantime, hope you'll enjoy the video, and I'll see you all in the next video.